What's up, everybody? I'm Rick,
And I'm Anna.
and welcome to our bucket list channel, a channel in which we try to realize the goals and dreams that are on our bucket list. One of those goals is to watch every movie that was nominated at the Academy Award for Best Picture or its equivalent from 1927 to 2028.
Definitely one of my favorite ones.
Yeah, and we're just not in the middle, but at the beginning of that, we've been watching a few movies. We're just starting the 4th Academy Award, and today we're going to talk to you about the first movie from that year that we watched, which is The Front Page. Again, for those who are not used to watching those videos, we do it in two parts. The first part is spoiler free, so don't worry if you haven't seen the movie and don't want to be spoiled. The second part is spoiler filled, so if you want to go more in depth in the discussion, you stay for the second part. We'll warn you whenever we get into the spoilers. But before we do that first part, let's talk some little facts about the movie. The Front Page, a movie that came out in 1931, produced by Howard Hughes. He's a very famous producer, filmmaker, was played by Leonardo DiCaprio in a movie The Aviator. I don't remember if he was nominated, but maybe we'll see it. It's based on a Broadway play of the same name. There are two versions of the film that exist, each made up of different takes. One of the version was the international one, and the other one the domestic one.
Okay.
And both of them are available, but it's the same scenes with just different takes.
I never knew there were two of them. So which one did we watch?
You know what? I don't even know. We watched one of them. Directed by Louis Milestone. When the movie started, you said, I've seen that name somewhere.
Yeah, that one.
Louis Milestone was also the director of the movie we watched before, All Quiet on the Western Front.
Oh, okay, right.
And I feel like you're going to see his name come up a couple more times before we're done with all of this. I pulled up a few of the actors from the movies. Walter Burns is played by Adolphe Menjou. Hildy Johnson is played by Pat O'Brien. And Peggy Grant by Mary Bryan. The movie was well received, got 3 Academy Award nominations. Of course, for Best Picture or Outstanding Production, as it was called back then. Best Director for Louis Milestone, and Best Actor for Adolphe Menjou. The movie was remade in 1974 and again in 1988, and was also adapted. The play was also adapted several times. That's the information that I had right now. Let's go into our spoiler-free discussion. I want to start it like I usually started by asking you, top level, what did you think of the movie?
I don't know, I'm really sorry to do that because I feel like since we started this is the first time that I'm actually not that impressed. I felt like the movie was not as captivating to me. And I can't really tell you why. The story was interesting enough, but the movie as a whole just didn't come together well to me.
So negative impressions. I'll tell you, came around on the movie. I felt like it started really slow. And then took time to get into it. And once I get into it, I was, not blown away, but I was entertained. And the end I liked. So, I had kind of a journey watching the movie. When it first started, I was kind of like you, like indifferent, if not bored. And then towards the middle, I was like, okay, I'm getting intrigued. And then at the end, I wasn't. I think it's very hard because it's a comedy, or there's a lot of comedic elements. And comedy, either works or it don't. Especially comedy from the 1930s,
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, there were a few parts that maybe, were more interesting, where I was thinking like, oh, something's happening now. But then 5 minutes later, no, not really.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. So this wouldn't be a movie that you recommend?
I wouldn't say so, no. Some movies can be good or maybe not so good. This one is just not captivating to me as a movie, so I would not recommend it. I'm really sorry.
So it's the worst sin of any entertainment product. It's forgettable, are you saying? Because something that is bad, you remember it. Yeah. Something that is good, you remember it.
Yes, I would say that.
Sadly, she does not recommend it. I say, I didn't dislike it, but there are better movies out there. If you're looking for a movie to watch, even a movie from the 30s, I think there are better choices out there, but still an interesting watch. But now, for those of you who don't want to be spoiled, I implore you, go away, go watch the movie or not, depending on whose advice you take. And come back for our next video. For those of you who don't mind being spoiled, we're going right into the spoilers right now. Can you go a bit more specifically like into some of the scenes or some of the elements that made you...
See, now that's what I'm talking about.
It's not something specific.
Yeah,
it's just
exactly. I even have a hard time describing exactly a scene that I've watched that I thought was good or bad, you know? It's like, I remember obviously like the whole story. I know what happens in the whole movie, but there's nothing that really stood out to me in a way that made me think like, oh, this was interesting or this was kind of
the characters.
Yes. The characters, well, I really like the main character, and I think he was like pretty well portrayed by the actor, the journalist, the one who, well, so he wants to get married,
retire and get married, yes, move to New York,
but then he gets into this story that
a criminal on death row just escapes,
right, and then he gets to meet him. So I feel like his character was interesting. I feel like he was well portrayed. The criminal was funny, and at other times was, what are you doing to me? I don't know.
Yeah, to me, like, so I told you I had like 3 stages as I was watching the movie. For the first part, I was kind of like you, either indifferent or bored. And then when the criminal escapes from prison and he's supposed to be killed on the morrow, like hanged, I got intrigued, especially when he met with the journalist. And then when Mr. Byrne appears, Adolf Mandrew, I thought he was great. He's the best character for me. Like the journalist, the main character, was great too. But Mr. Burns, I think, brought a whole other like dynamic to the experience, to the movie, especially in his interaction not only with the main character but with everyone else, because he always feels like he's in this position of superiority, even towards the mayor, even towards the police. And so like I loved him. I think he really turned the movie around for me. Unlike most of the other journalists that were there, I didn't care for most of them, especially.
I mean, I feel like the 3 of them, the journalist, the editor, and the criminal, the escaped criminal, are the ones that you kind of follow the most. Like the others are a little bit more.
The other journalists, they're still there,
Yeah.
And
obviously.
So every time they were there, like I didn't care much for them. The wife, she's there a lot. I didn't care much for her,
I suppose.
The grandmother either. And so it's all these other characters that, like, to me, didn't really do the story any justice. I think, like, a lot of them were there for comedic relief, and a lot of the comedy didn't hit with me. And so it's more the story elements that I enjoyed once, it was Mr. Burns, the journalist, and the criminal, trying, the 3 of them, to figure out how are we gonna, get this story out without the sheriff and the mayor or the other journalists figuring out what's happening.
And that part where they put him inside the
desk.
The desk.
Yeah.
Like that actually, that I felt like was the one part of the movie that was really like funny to watch, because the situation is comic.
Even though it's funny, it takes towards the middle, or maybe the 3/4 of the movie, kind of a turn where the criminal's friend or girlfriend, I'm not sure, jumps from the window. I was surprised. Like, I thought it was a joke at first. I asked you even, like, wait, what just happened? Because I thought, like, she tripped comedically or something. No, she just jumps up the window to, like, get the people away from their suspicion that something might be happening.
There, yeah.
It's a movie and a roller coaster for me,
It's probably because of things like this. At some point you don't really get, I didn't really get, like, this is comic, but then there are some really serious things happening, and they don't mingle that well. Am I supposed to laugh at this? Because it's not funny.
That she just jumped?
Yeah, exactly.
It's a hard balance to get, definitely, when comedies try to do drama and vice versa. Not your favorite from the ones we've watched, definitely.
No, unfortunately.
Me neither, but I think I liked it a bit more than you did. But still, if you have, 2 hours in front of you, I might say watch another movie. there are better movies out there. Watch one of those other ones that we've talked about.
I feel like even for movies that combine like comedy with a dramatic side, we've already seen like The Love Parade. It was a bit like that to me.
But that is just our opinion. Maybe you guys have another opinion after watching the movie. Please tell us in the comment section below if you agree or disagree. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, well, what are you doing? How are you gonna follow us on this crazy journey to watch all these movies? So you gotta subscribe and hit the notification bell so you know whenever our next video drops. Have a nice day.